ROC, restore our community. ROC, restore our community. ROC, restore our community. ROC, restore our community.
Wanda P's on a mission to ROC, restore our community, assuming the task, taking on the responsibility, one block at a time, one young mind at
welcome
a
to
time.
ROC. I'm Wanda P, and this is Restore Our Communities. I have my brother and my friend Nicolay Taylor with me, my co-host. How you doing, my brother?
Fine. How are you doing, Wonder?
Good. And we have a very, very special guest, Miss Patricia H. Wesson, who is the author, and she has many hats. She's the author of a book called Secret Lenders, Never Told You. How are you, Miss?
I am wonderful. How are you today?
I am great. Tell our viewing audience who you are and what is your purpose.
Okay. Well, my name is Patricia H. Wesson, and I am the author of the book, Secrets Lenders Never Told You. And I wrote the book, if I may go on and tell you this, I wrote the book because of many requests that I had from other business owners. I was in lending for over 21 years.
Okay.
And my whole career banking and finance. So what happened while I was in banking, my clients would come to me or customers would say, what is it that lenders look for? And usually that was after their loan had been declined.
Okay.
So after I left banking, I decided, well, I need to leave something.
Absolutely.
So that they will be able to know what we look for and actually get their loans approved.
Wow.
Okay. Because, when I think about what happened in 2008, prior to, and I think I relate everything to prior to 2008 and after 2008, it seems like the lending industry just decided to just tighten up, and it was almost impossible to get a loan after 2008. Why is that, and where do you think the market is today? Is it recovering? Are we okay now, or are things changing still?
I think the market is recovering. I really do. Of course, 2008 was a tough year.
Right.
But I believe it's recovering. I really do. I see, matter of fact, on the news today, they were talking about how the market is recovering from where it was in 2008.
Absolutely.
I think some people hate to admit it, but it really is. And the business owners will tell you, a lot of them will tell you that the market is improving.
Absolutely. Well, you had another question?
No, I'm just saying that, businesses have record profits right now. And it's the first time they've had record profits in the last 10 years or so. Just 10, 15 years. So, yeah, I have to agree with you. Things have gotten better, a lot better as far as lending is concerned.
Wow. Let's talk about that. Some of the questions that sparked this book, why people were not able to obtain a loan. Was it because of the credit rating? Was it what is it? Mainly, I know the credit has to be a certain score.
Well, a lot of times, and I'm talking to you from experience, from one-on-one experience. Okay. Because I was a lending officer, I had my own authority where I can actually sign on the dotted line.
Oh, okay.
So I know basically my experience.
Okay.
And I can recall there were times when I would approve a loan, had approved it, and then when the client got to me, but to prove the documentation, they couldn't do it. So one of the secrets that I tell people, don't try to fool the lender.
Okay.
Because they're experienced at this.
Yeah.
And I also tell them that the other secrets are that lenders have antennas that go
Absolutely.
up. So have you ever noticed how your car antenna goes up when you turn your radio on? Well, that's exactly what happens when the lender speaks to, when you tell the lender something, it's just not sounding right.
Right.
Their antenna goes up.
Okay.
So don't try to fool the lender.
Okay.
And because if you do, when someone else asks about their experience with you, well, they're going to remember that particular thing, and you don't want that to happen.
Wow.
So telling the truth or your integrity can mean the difference between getting a loan approved or getting declined.
Okay. So if someone has come to you and the credit is not where it needs to be, who are some of these people who need to learn more about what's going on here? I mean, they came to you and wanted to get a loan and said, well, my credit's not that bad.
Well, let me say this. One reason that I wrote this book, because a lot of people think you just have to have excellent credit.
Okay.
to get a loan. And the number one secret that I have in this book is that your loan doesn't have to be turned down. When you know what the lender looks for,
Okay.
you can be more prepared.
Okay.
You can talk the lender's language, and I call that as one of my secrets, speaking the lender's slang. The lender speaks slang.
Okay.
So, like when you go into a certain area and they have their own slang, well, lenders have slang too. It's
Okay.
called the lender's language. So if
Okay.
you understand what that language is when they ask you for your personal financial statement, well, that's a slang. Because sometimes you don't know why. Your personal financial statement, what is that? Your cash flow statement or your performance, things like that. You're going to wonder, well, what is that? But see, when you know and you know what they're looking for, you can sit there and talk to them as their language.
Okay.
So you're on a medium there.
Okay.
Isn't it also true that a lot of small businesses, because they don't have the accounting background, some of the financial statements they may not be familiar with. They don't know what a P&L is. They don't know what a cash flow statement is. They don't know what an income statement is. So
Right.
when the lenders ask for that and they can't produce it, well, obviously, if you're going for a loan, aren't those 3 documents that you have to have, or is it a
No,
requirement?
you have to have those. You
Okay.
have to have that. And I recommend to any business owners, whether you have, and I recommend that you have an accountant or a CPA for your business. Every business should have someone to do the record, because you spend enough time trying to run your business.
Right.
And then trying to do all the accounting and everything, and keeping your books together. You
So
can get
overwhelming,
behind,
yeah.
and it can cause you some severe problems. So yes, the financial statements, you have to have that. And another thing I want to say, that if the accountant puts it together, it doesn't matter. You need to know what that statement means.
Right.
Because that statement tells you basically where you need to improve within your business. So if your receivables are slow, then it tells you, okay, your cash flow is going to be
Yeah.
slow. You're not going to be able to turn your business over the way it should be. So that's just things that you need to know. So
Sounds
okay, well, I need to.
It sounds familiar. I mean,
That's
you're
right.
right. If the accountant will not be in the meetings in almost any of the cases, so who has to explain
Yeah,
the details, right?
And you should review those statements at the end of each month,
Mhm.
and particularly the quarterly after that, because it's telling you, okay, I'm spending too much money on supplies. I'm spending too much money on marketing, maybe. But I think marketing should be probably one of the biggest things you spend money on, naturally. But you need to know, if you have a budget, see if you're out of the budget line. You need that to see where you are within your business.
You know, if I didn't know anything about you were a prophet. I mean, because what you're saying is so true, and it just brings tears to my eyes when I think about certain things that you're saying. And it is so true. And hindsight is 20/20.
Yes.
Um, and I know I kind of fit in the category is some of the things that you were saying that I went in the opposite direction on. And had we known each other, none of that would have happened. But it's never too late. It was the reason why we have connected at this point. And as we were talking, and you shared the things that you were doing while we were off camera. We were talking about some the things you were evolving from your hometown. Let's talk a little bit about that. Your experience in Memphis.
Okay. Well, in Memphis, I was the vice president of 2 national banks.
Okay.
I had, and from there, I was director of certification. That was here in Nashville. I was director of a business development center. Matter of fact, city government business development center for 7 years.
Okay.
And from there, I had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., and I was awarded several acclamations, rewards for things that I had done.
Okay.
The other thing is that I was Business Advocate of the Year.
Wow.
SBA
Good
named
for
me as
you.
Business Advocate
Yes.
of the Year.
Yeah.
That I'm grateful for.
No doubt.
And the loan administrator of SBA came out of D.C. to pay me a visit. So those
Wow.
were the accomplishments. there.
Congratulations.
And of course, I was sitting there minding my own business there in Memphis, Tennessee, when the governor here of Tennessee called me and said
Okay.
that they need, one of the commissioners called me and said, when are you going to move to Nashville? And I said, well, I'm already packed. So I moved to Memphis and moved to Nashville and took on the position as Director of Certification for Women, Minorities, and Small Business Owners.
Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, you are just a gift from God.
Yes.
Because there are so many people nowadays who, because of the economy, as we talked about in 08, they're starting their own business. And one of the things, and it came up even in our Bible study, the series, planning. How important is planning?
Planning is very, very important.
Okay.
Very important. I can't stress that enough. That you should have a business plan. Now, a lot of people some people only do their business plan when they want money.
Okay.
Because the lender sometimes asks for your business
Sure.
plan. But the business plan, the owner or the business owner is the biggest benefactor of their business plan.
Okay.
So without it, it's just like driving somewhere out in the foreign country, you don't know where you're going. So if you're running a business, you don't know where you just do day by day. You're just going, don't know where you're going in your business. There's no telling where you might end up. And a lot of times it's not a good thing.
Not at all.
Yeah. I guess the loan cops is what I call them, the underwriters, and whether it be insurance or mortgages or just regular loans. Do they come into play with most of the loans that you were working in? Is that something that the consumer or the borrower needs to be aware of, or is that something that kind of happens in the background that they don't necessarily need to be aware of?
Well, lending, which is another one of the secrets, lending is a numbers game.
And I was going to get to the slang thing. Go ahead.
It's a numbers game. So when they get your information, your numbers, your financial statements and things, see, they've already gone through your business plan and they've decided that, I'm interested in this, but let's just see what's over here.
Okay.
And then that's when they start doing the ratios and they start doing all that funny calculating that most of us don't know anything about if you're not in the business.
Okay.
So the book will tell you basically what it is they're looking for in the numbers. So it's where you can go and kind of do your own numbers and say, they don't look all right to me.
And you feel confident.
And you feel confident.
Absolutely.
But let me tell you this about the plan. I don't want to disappoint anybody.
Okay.
But sometimes your business plan may never be read by the lender.
Wow.
And that's
Is that a good thing?
well,
If they
no, it's not. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Okay, see, the reason it's not read by the lender sometimes because lenders sometimes receive hundreds and thousands of business plans a year. And if your business plan is not written in a compelling format,
That captures.
addressing the questions that they're looking for and answering them in the way that they're looking for, they're going to pass. They're just going.
That's kind of
They're not gonna read
like
it all.
501c3 when people have had difficulties obtaining 501c3s. There are certain.
Certain things that
They're
the
looking
IRS
for.
looks for. So the thing is that a lot of times, instead of sending the lender the complete business plan, send them the executive summary,
Like we did.
which is a summation of the key elements
Which
of
could be up
the
to 3
plan.
pages or something.
Addressing, it could be. Addressing what they're looking for. And so you want to get that key, say, when they say, all right, when they call you back up and say, could I see the rest of your plan? So they're looking for key things that doesn't take them long to look either because they know what they're looking for.
I think that's a great tip to give to someone that's out here. Listen, I want you to give your information in a minute.
Okay.
But that was a great opportunity to let people know that just like with resumes, you don't want to send a resume in that's 10 pages and they toss them right in the trash. I've heard this.
That's right.
So let's give your information for anyone that's interested.
Okay, the information is to purchase the book. You can go to the website www.secretslendersnevertoldyou.com, and that's secretslendersnevertoldyou.com, and it says get your business loan approved.
Secrets with an S?
That's with an S. Secretslendersnevertoldyou.com.
Okay, well, we'll make sure we have the information up so that people can visually see that.
Thank you.
Wow, I mean, this is so neat. And so many questions, but let me try to get my thoughts. Go ahead, get something.
Well, no, what I was thinking more of is sometimes I help businesses to generate not only business plans, but just from a consulting standpoint, to get their business up and get it running. And it just seems like the problem that most businesses have is just financing. You know, they can't figure out how to get the money. And in most cases, when you go to the bank, they look at your evaluations. They also look at your profit margins, and they expect for you to put 20% down. Now, has that changed? For example, if someone's going in looking for a loan?
Let me say this: lenders. That's another secret. Lenders have preferences.
Okay.
Some lenders prefer not to approve loans for businesses that are startups because of the high failure rate.
Yeah.
So they prefer loaning to business to have a track record,
Okay.
2 years or more.
Okay.
So when you're a new startup business, they're going to look more at your personal credit and things like that. But I always emphasize that if you are starting a business and you're a corporation and you form a corporation or LLC, well, you form that corporation or LLC for a reason. And that hopefully one of the reasons is to raise capital. It's a separate entity if you have a corporation. So you can, there are ways to do, there are ways to do everything. I served on a committee. It was called Valley Investment Fund.
Okay.
And my role was to identify business owners that were looking for $500,000 up to $2 million.
Okay.
And one of the things I found, one of the biggest concerns is that the owners did not know how to develop a detailed business plan.
Wow.
And so that was one of the main things, because to get that kind of money, it has to be detailed.
That's right.
And it has to be specific, even though we were asking for the executive summary first. But afterwards, I mean, we're sitting on that board, and there's a lot of questions coming from the board, and we have to be able to answer those questions. So I guess the business plan, I mean, the upfront, we want to know that you have some money in your own business. If you don't have any money in there, then why do you want the bank to put money in? Okay, so and then it may be that you can find others that would be interested. Your idea is that good. Maybe if you are a corporation, you get someone to buy into it with you, okay, and do your presentation.
You talked about something in the book about the numbers game 7, 8. Talk about what was that?
The numbers game 7?
The numbers.
Oh, the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, lending is a numbers game. And so the lenders rely heavily on their ratios, their numbers, their debt to worth ratios, and other key profitability ratios. And if they're not in line, then they're gonna ask you some questions, but basically,
and that's not good.
No, it's not.
That's not good. They have to come back and question.
But what I want to say is that the intent is not in the book. It's not to say you need to learn all of this. You just need to understand.
Right, and be aware.
Be aware that this is what they're looking at. And so I would encourage everyone, if you are looking for a loan for your business, even if you've gotten a loan before, to get this book and read. It's easy reading. It's a practical book.
Yeah.
It can be. It has been applied. This book works.
Yeah.
These are applicable things that you can use.
Oh yeah.
And if you use it, I guarantee you, it will increase your chances of getting the loan that you want. But I also want to say this: when I mentioned that lenders have preferences, you want to make sure that the business that you have is one that the lender will give you a loan on, because if not, you're going to be wasting your time.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You want to make sure that they loan to startups or loan to restaurant businesses. I know that both of the banks that I was employed with, they were very hesitant about lending money to restaurant businesses.
Why is that?
Unless they were a franchise.
Okay.
Because of the high failure rate. Starting out, because you think about it, it's a risky
business.
It's
a very risky business.
You know, you're
Everybody has
dealing with food and just a lot of things
and then
that
someone
come
in the
up.
corner,
Right, so you have to just make sure that ask the lender of the bank, find out, do your homework. What kind of loans do they look for? What kind of businesses do they finance?
Wow.
Well, it sounds like what you're telling us as the audience as well as us is the one thing that the bank looks for. They look for historical data. Historical data being all of your 3 financials. Now, maybe you can talk a little bit about projections.
Oh, I'm glad you asked about projections because from looking at, sometimes I would get projections and they were way out of sort. It's just like, even though not projections, it's just good guessing. Okay, so it's a guessing game, but you got to be good at it.
Right.
But they have to be realistic
Right.
to the business that you're in. So there are books out there that will tell you what the norm is for that type of industry. So if you're projected, then you want to make sure that you're not way out of space somewhere.
Right.
With things that don't really correlate with the business that you're in. So I remember one time I was looking at a client's customers' projections, and they were all pretty. You know, the CPA, I guess, they put them together, and the line items didn't go with the kind of business that it was.
Okay.
They come to find out the line items belong to a funeral home. So what had happened?
Oh, they cut and paste.
So and I'm going.
Don't fool the lender.
You can't-
Oh my, you can't fool my
So
nature.
when I asked the customer about it, he
Oh
said,
wow.
my accountant did that. But see, it doesn't matter to us because
Your
we're looking at
name.
you.
Your name.
You need to know
Numbers.
your business plan, front
Wow,
and
that
back,
is
numbers. You need to be able to explain those numbers because we want to know, how did you arrive at this? Okay, how and what are you going to do with the loan? And we want to see that somewhere within those projections, you have put the loan in there, and you've shown that it helped you to increase your sales. So if that's not showing, then we're going, I'll let the tenants go up.
I'll tell you.
So-
Go ahead, sorry.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say I remember Mickley probably back in around 2001, 2002. And I'm always just out there, just full of ideas, trying to start business, trying to network with people. And we were working on a charter school. People laughed at me.
I remember that.
Why?
But I did, small-minded people not really seeing your vision. And I really didn't care what anybody thought about it. And they were like, you're starting a school, you're trying to do this, whatever. But the Lord blessed me to get all types of people that would make a school work.
Right. Very good.
And we had people, engineers, account teachers, we had principals, we had people that, accountants, whatever. So in fact, I was getting dressed for work one morning. They laughed at me. I don't care. Getting dressed for work. And when they named the schools, out of the 12 schools at that time, because the charter schools were just come back on the rise at the time, there were four finalists.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting dressed. They named all the schools, and then they mentioned New Era Learning Center. I screamed to the top of my lungs, and Smith and Craig had been like, they were only going to take 3 out of the 4. And it was because of our budget. We remember, forget the gentleman that did our...
He was out of Kentucky, yes. He came down and he assisted us with the budget. And
Yeah.
it was very detailed.
It was very detailed, yeah.
And the one problem, like you just mentioned, the issue that the reason that we did not get approved had to do with the 20% or the 15 or the 30% that they were asking us to put up. And that's why we didn't have the funding that we needed.
And it's good to know, like I say, it's good to know what the bank is looking for because they want to make sure you can cash flow that business before, even without their money, so how far you can go without it. So you have to have some money in your own business.
Yeah, and of course, just being gung-ho, and even just you said something earlier, it's so many things you said just kind of like is in my face, and it's a good thing. It was bad at the time, but it's a good thing that with knowing that if you did some things before, it can be done again with a different mindset. You learn valuable, no doubt. No, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't be me. I can't see myself working for someone forever. I've always had multiple things going on. Always had multiple things going on.
Smart thing.
Yeah.
Smart thing.
Let's get that information out again if someone wants to get in contact with you.
The information is www.secretslendersnevertoldyou.com. That's secretslendersnevertoldyou.com. And you can also go to amazon.com to just key in my name, Patricia H. Wesson, and the book will come up. Or you can key in the bookstore, and it will also come up.
Wow. We have about maybe 3 minutes left. Let's just,
I got a key point to tell you.
Come on,
I got to tell you
Give
this,
us-
okay? You asked me whether or not you can get loans with questionable credit.
Bad, yeah.
Well, the thing is, before I started working in the banking industry, I would say no. Okay? But now that I've been in the industry,
Okay.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Now, there's a catch. The first thing you need to do, you need to get to know the person that can sign on the dotted line.
Okay.
Okay? Not just, you got to know that the person has the authority to make exceptions.
Okay.
And also, they've got to begin to know you
Mm-hmm.
and to trust you. Okay, so I said, when you walk in the bank, and be sure to say hello.
That's right.
When you make a deposit, say, I just made a deposit. But get to know that person. Ask them to go out to lunch. I remember one time I was trying to get the funding for my books. Okay. And I had just attended an event, and this senior VP came up to me and said, Pat, I want to have lunch with you. And I knew why I was going to lunch, but I didn't know, he didn't know why I was going to lunch with me. But what I'm saying is just things like that.
Yeah.
Just have your plan.
Have your game plan,
What
right.
you're going to say. But I won't say if you have, because there's sometimes you have good reasons, the way when your credit is not as good as it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it can be acceptable if they see that there's a trend where you're going upward.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you just have to make sure that you're open and honest with
Absolutely.
the borrower, that they buy into what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and that they see that they can trust you.
And there's just so many people out there that can really, benefit from your book and benefit from this information that you gave us. Again, one more time, give that information out, and we're going to wrap this up.
The information is secretslendersnevertoldyou.com, or you can go to amazon.com and key in my name, Patricia H. Wesson, or you can key in the name of the book, Secrets Lenders Never Told You. And of course, there's about 21 secrets in the book. So we only brushed up on just a few of them.
Okay.
But there's some valuable points in there, and so I encourage everyone to try the book.
Great. I'm excited. I just want to thank my special guest, Ms. Patricia H. Wesson. Remember, get this book, Secrets Lenders Never Told You, because they shouldn't tell me. And my brother, Mickey Taylor. Yes, it's so wonderful. There's a connection here. I'm going to do that. And remember that God loves you, and so do we. Man, this is
Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock, there are over 7,000 people praying together on the Mount Zion prayer call. The numbers are right there on your screen. If you're not connected to the call, take time to get connected to the call. Listen, we are expecting God to do something powerful each and every time we get on the call. So listen, we want you to blow up Twitter this week.